Hello, and I have done 4 weeks now of the Ultramind solution. What's happened this week? Yeah, I repeated my mistake from last week. Very clever. So last week I ate some gluten by mistake by not bothering to read a label. And this week I was very, very good with looking at all my labels on anything except health food brands. And there's a health food brand I've started eating now with doing all this. And I really like the food, and I just assumed, well, if it's a healthy food brand, there's not going to be any gluten in it. And also it was a kind of a spicy nut kind of mix, and I thought, well, there's no wheat in that. And I just poured it all over my soup, and I read the ingredients. And it says can't guarantee gluten free, and I thought, well, I'm hungry, and because I really wanted the soup. And then that was Saturday lunchtime. Sunday afternoon, which was yesterday, I started to really feel like my mood went down, and this happens to me not every day, but it's quite normal for my mood to really kind of go down about tea time. And at the beginning I thought, I'm just in a bit of a, my mood's going down. And then it kind of got really worse, and it got kind of quite despairing. And do you ever have that voice in your head saying, you're crap, everything you do is crap, you won't succeed? That started to get quite loud. And then I realised I was having a delayed reaction. Now it's very interesting because in the Ultramind Companion Guide, when he talks about reintroducing things, you have to leave it 3 days, because it might have a delayed reaction. Now, whereas last week I started to get the reaction within a couple of hours, it was about 28 hours with this. It's the only thing I can put it down to. And I'm absolutely certain that it is the gluten, and it wasn't just kind of a psychological thing, because they feel different, okay? So I'll give you an example. So Wednesday last week, I had a very bad day, but I was thinking about something quite upsetting, and I'd had the feelings coming up delayed. Now I've spoken about the fact I had a long history of compulsive eating, and when you eat compulsively, you basically eat your feelings and you squash them down. And with coming off these addictive foods, a lot of it is meant a release of the feelings, and that is different from what I've been going through the last 24 hours. That's very raw, it's very intense, and it feels like really the big stuff. With this, it's much more a kind of uneasiness and anxiety, and it never gets that bad, but it's really not pleasant, and it's certainly not worth anything. For what you eat of anything, really. So I just have to keep reading the labels. But apart from that, yes, I did do some cooking, and I thought, well, I can't come back and make another video if I don't do some cooking. So all morning yesterday I cooked. I was bored out of my brains by the end, but I had made a really nice lentil loaf. So I feel quite pleased with myself that there is a wider range of foods, and I think every video up till now I've talked about how bored I was getting with the food, and I can't say that now. I feel like I've got a greater range, and I really have to accept that it's not just that gluten has to be out of my life now. I have to accept that I need to spend time cooking, and there's a whole load of stuff about your life priorities and work-life balance. It's kind of work-cooking balance in a way. And there is certain things you just have to accept. But what you get is much better. And I can feel now, it's not quite 24 hours since I started to get my gluten crash, as I call it. I can feel I'm coming out of it now. Still feel a little bit anxious, but okay enough to make this video, so... but how lucky am I, hey? And if you're in the same position, how lucky are you? How lucky are you that you finally isolated a cause for all this feeling awful? If you're anything like me, I used to think that this is just the way that my life had to be. and it's not. So that's fantastic. And finally, another funny thing, I stood on the scales and I gained a pound, but my shape had my measurements had gone in because I'd been doing a lot of walking last week. And do you know what? I was actually really happy. I thought, fantastic. I think I finally found my ideal weight. Not through any outer measure, not through looking in the mirror, but from what I'm eating, and eating in right and in tune with my body, and exercising. So that's really good. I'm really, really quite pleased with gaining a pound, which it's a lifetime first. Okay, so that's week 4. I've got a couple more weeks before you can start doing the reintroduction, but as you can tell, I've I've done a bit of that by mistake, haven't I? Anyway, so yeah, it's still going great, and on the whole, very educational. Okay, cheers. I'll see you for week 5. Bye.